Hello, fellow Christmas lovers and enthusiasts. You are listening to Closer to Christmas, the Christmas podcast where every episode that comes out, we all get a little bit closer to Christmas. My name is Charlie, and on episode 19 of Closer to Christmas, I had a little conversation with an artificial intelligence, and I asked it to come up with some St. Patrick's Day and Christmas stories, as well as a St. Patrick's song to the tune of a Christmas song. So I'm going to go over that on this St. Patrick's Day episode of Closer to Christmas. And now that you know what this episode is about, it's time to grab your favorite blend of coffee, hot chocolate, favorite beverage of choice, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. All right, everybody, welcome to Closer to Christmas. If this is your first time listening to the show, thanks for tuning in. If you're a returning listener, thanks for coming back for more. This is a very special St. Patrick's Day Closer to Christmas episode. I jumped on the bandwagon, hopped on to ChatGPT, and asked it a few questions about St. Patrick's Day and Christmas, and I'm going to cover three things that came up with my conversation with the artificial intelligence, and the first one is a story. It is called St. Patrick's and Christmas. Once upon a time, in a small Irish village, there was a young girl named Mauve. She loved two holidays above all others, St. Patrick's Day and Christmas. On St. Patrick's Day, Mauve would wear her brightest green dress and join the village parade, dancing and singing along with the musicians. She loved the festive atmosphere, the smell of corned beef and cabbage cooking, and the sound of laughter and joy all around her. Every year, Mauve looked forward to this special day and would spend weeks preparing for it. But as much as she loved St. Patrick's Day, Mauve loved Christmas even more. The whole village would come together to decorate the town square, and Mauve would help string up the lights and hang ornaments. On Christmas Eve, everyone would gather in the square for a big feast, and Mauve would sing carols and dance with her friends. One year, Mauve had a brilliant idea. What if they combined the two holidays into one big celebration? She shared her idea with the village elder, who loved the idea, and soon everyone was working together to plan the biggest, most festive event the village had ever seen. On March 17th, the village came alive with the colors of Christmas and St. Patrick's Day. Green and red lights twinkled overhead, and the smell of both holidays mingled in the air. Mauve wore a green dress with a red ribbon in her hair and led the parade with a group of carolers following close behind. The musicians played traditional Irish tunes mixed with Christmas carols, and everyone joined in the singing and dancing. The day was a huge success, and everyone agreed that it was the best St. Patrick's Day and Christmas celebration ever. From that year on, the village continued to combine the two holidays in one big event, and it became a beloved tradition that brought everyone together in joy and harmony. Mauve felt proud to have sparked the idea and to have brought her two favorite holidays together in a way that everyone could enjoy. The end. So that is very Nightmare Before Christmas, if you ask me. Trying to combine two holidays. All I did was ask ChatGPT to give me a story that combined St. Patrick's Day and Christmas, and that is what I came up with. So it's pretty interesting what this thing will pop out. So if you have a chance to mess around with it, you can get some stories like that. It was a pretty lengthy one. I have another story coming up at the end of the episode, but the next part coming up after this commercial break is a Christmas song. Or is it a St. Patrick's Day song? Guess we'll find out. Stay tuned, and I will be right back.
When the burn months set in and the nights start to get crisp, do you feel what I feel? Hi, I'm Ashley, and I'm the voice behind the Magic of the Season podcast, where we talk nostalgia, holiday history, movies, music, and of course, the big man himself. If you want to turn on something that brings you warmth, comfort, and cheer, then you're in the right place. I'm available on all podcast platforms, such as Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and many more. Follow me for some festive fun on my Instagram at the Magic of the Season podcast. Now grab your hot cocoa, get cozy, because it's story time.
All right, so for this next part that I asked ChatGPT, I really was tossing this one around. I wasn't sure how I was going to do this, and I think I'm going to just settle on just saying the lyrics that I came up with and spare you guys listening to me sing. So for the next thing, I asked it to write a St. Patrick's Day song to the tune of Jingle Bells, and it actually came up with a song pretty quick. So it has verses and choruses, and it's actually pretty lengthy. So verse 1 is, "On St. Patrick's Day we wear green and celebrate with lots of cheer. We dance and sing and feast on corned beef and drink a pint of beer." Then the chorus, St. Patrick's Day, we celebrate in style. We honor the patron saint of Ireland with a shamrock and a smile. Then on to verse 2. We march in parades with bagpipes loud and wave our Irish flags. We share our culture with the world and tell our stories with pride and brag. Chorus. St. Patrick's Day, we celebrate in style. We honor the patron saint of Ireland with a shamrock and a smile. Verse 3. We remember St. Patrick's mission to bring the gospel to the land and how he used the shamrock's 3 leaves to help the people understand. St. Patrick's Day, we celebrate in style. We honor the patron saint of Ireland with a shamrock and a smile. So raise a glass to St. Patrick and all he did for us. Let's keep his legacy alive and continue his work with trust. And the chorus, finally, St. Patrick's Day, we celebrate in style. We honor the patron saint of Ireland with a shamrock and a smile. So again, came up with this song really quick. I was pretty surprised, and it broke it down into chorus and verses. And if you sang that to the tune of Jingle Bells, it actually fits pretty well. So again, I'm very impressed with what it pumped out when I asked it that question. And finally, before I go, I did ask it to tell me another story about St. Patrick's and Christmas, and it did come up with another story, and I'm going to cover that one right now. So when it popped out this story, it didn't come up with a title for this one, so I'm just going to go ahead and read the story. In a small Irish village, there lived a young girl named Aoife. She loved both St. Patrick's Day and Christmas equally, but for very different reasons. On St. Patrick's Day, Aoife would wear her lucky green dress and march in the village parade, waving a flag with a shamrock on it. She loved the energy and excitement of the day, the sounds of the bagpipes and the laughter of her friends, but most of all, she loved the stories her grandmother would tell her about the leprechauns who lived in the nearby woods. At Christmas, Aoife's favorite thing to do was decorate her family's cottage. She would string up lights and hang ornaments and help her mother bake gingerbread cookies. She loved the warm glow of the fire in the hearth and the smell of pine needles from the tree. But most of all, she loved the stories her grandmother would tell her about Santa Claus and his magical reindeer. One year, just a few days before Christmas, Aoife was playing in the woods near her home where she heard a strange sound. It was like nothing she had ever heard before, a mixture of laughter and tinkling bells. She followed the sound deeper into the woods, and soon she saw a tiny man with a bright red hat and green jacket dancing around a small pot of gold. It was a leprechaun! Aoife couldn't believe her luck. She had always wanted to meet one of the magical creatures her grandmother had told her about. She approached the leprechaun slowly, not wanting to scare him away, but the little man just laughed and beckoned her closer. "Hello, Aoife! I've been waiting for you," he said in a voice that sounded like a mix of a bell and a flute. Oh, I didn't do a good impression of that. Oh well. "Me? Why?" asked Aoife, astonished.
"Because you love both St. Patrick's Day and Christmas, of course, and I have a special gift for you,"
said the leprechaun, opening his pot of gold to reveal a shiny, green, and red object. It was a magical wreath made of holly and mistletoe and shamrocks. The leprechaun explained that it would bring good luck and happiness to whoever hung it on their door. Aoife thanked the leprechaun with all her heart and brought the wreath back to her cottage. She hung it on her door, and the moment it was in place, she felt a warm glow spread through her body. That Christmas was the most magical one of all. The cottage was filled with happiness and laughter, and the wreath seemed to radiate joy and peace. And every St. Patrick's Day thereafter, Aoife would march in the parade with her lucky wreath, feeling grateful for the magical encounter that had brought the two holidays together in such a wonderful way. The end. So needless to say, I am very impressed with what ChatGPT spit out for the 3 things that I asked it. I did ask it quite a few other things, but I figured 3 things was good enough for this mini episode, and again, with it being St. Patrick's Day, I still wanted to give it that Christmas twist. So I hope you enjoy what I came up with for you guys there. And with that said, we're going to wrap up this episode, so I want to thank you guys for listening, and remember the next time you hear my voice and this podcast, we are all going to be a little bit closer to Christmas. Thanks for listening. I would like to thank Kevin Ague for the use of his music for the intro and outro to this episode. Links to his music can be found on the show notes for this episode. If you could take a minute of your time and rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to this show, it would be greatly appreciated. You could email the show at closertochristmaspodcast@gmail.com, and you could visit us online at closertochristmas.com. If you would like to have your voice heard on the show, or if you'd just like to send in a question or a comment, head over to closertochristmas.com and click on the message button. And finally, if you would like to follow our social media so you could see any pictures I might have discussed on the show, you could check us out on Twitter and Instagram, both at Closer2Xmas.
Closer to Christmas is a proud member of the Christmas Podcast Network. The Christmas Podcast Network is home to hundreds of great Christmas podcasts from all around the world.
Okay, Elfie, I'll take it from here. Make sure you visit the Christmas Podcast Network at ChristmasPodcasts.com. Ho, 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 ho.